today we're here with Mike and his '89 Supra. It's a beautiful car, fully built. Obviously we have a soft spot for Supras. So Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell me kind of what you've done with the car and what you got into the engine and the rest of it.
So pretty much bought the car resprayed. It's not factory paint, obviously. It would be impressive if it was. But bought it as with the intention of completely rebuilding the drivetrain, which is what we did. Pulled the motor 6 months after I got it. All forged internals. Took the head to M&B. Shout out to Brian. And had it fully ported, polished, oversized valves, titanium springs, retainers, the works.
Wow.
And, some bigger injectors, standalone computer, and got a runner.
And one of the things I love about this car is you never see a Mark III in this condition. I mean, it is absolutely immaculate. The body lines are straight, the paint's beautiful. I mean, how were you able to end up with a car that was so nice?
It was just pure luck. Pure luck, because, you know, before, this was actually a replacement for my original Supra that I had to sell. Before I bought this one, I must have looked at, you know, a dozen different Supras that were hacked up and beat up and just looked like total crap. So, yeah, this was it was a diamond when I found it, and found it from a younger guy up in Seattle.
Wow.
Made him an offer and took it.
Damn. So it's a 7M still, right?
Factory 7M.
And how much power are you making right now?
The last dyno was about 440, and that was before we made some more changes.
And you're gonna keep going up?
Yeah. You know, once you hit that what you think is a plateau, then you want to go for that next mountain.
Yeah, it's an addiction.
Yeah. So you know, if we get up to 6, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Until we get there.
Woo, that's a lot, man. I'm sure it's super fun to drive.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So why Supras, right? What makes you tick with Supras?
You know, my very first Supra was an '87, and just bought it off Craigslist. I was looking for a rear-wheel drive, 5-speed car, and it was a naturally aspirated model, but I went ahead and bought it because it had the other criteria I wanted. Mm-hmm. And started driving it around. Then I got to know some people on the forums. Started doing a lot of forum surfing, found out there's a lot of things you can do with them, and found out that there was also another model that came with a turbo engine, and I said, well, you know, I want to try that. So I found another car that was totaled, swapped everything over, made it a turbo, and been hooked ever since. Just can't go back once you go turbo.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah, well, I guess that's a good segue. Let's go for a ride.
Good enough?
Oh man, it's wonderful. It is so weird to sit in such a high horsepower car that has a full leather interior. Go right. Full leather interior, air conditioning. It's got all the amenities, man. This thing's awesome.
Cup holders too.
And cup holders. Oh, that compressor surge is wonderful. That's something that I could never hear in my Supra. I could never hear the compressor surge. I don't know why.
Just not lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
The last Supra didn't do that either. I think it was just a combination of everything fit together, and you know, you get what you get. Sometimes you're just lucky to get a certain sound or a certain feeling.
Oh, boost cut.
Boost cut.
Oh, man. It's okay. It's a race car. Always got to get the tweaks.
Yeah.
Got to work the bugs out.
Finesse it up and down and just try to hit that perfect zone.
Yeah. But just normal driving, it seems like it runs really good.
Yeah, it's nice and smooth. Bumped the idle down a little bit because it was running a little high, about 1200 on idle.
Yeah.
So bring the idle down. It runs cooler at an idle now. So just kind of jamming around town. Temperature up.
I don't know. I think for me, one of the harder things in these high horsepower cars is to try to get it to run really good just for normal everyday driving. It's easy to make tons of power, but it's hard to get that really fine-tuned drivability, especially when you're gonna like run air conditioning, things like that.
How can you do without AC?
Well,
that's my one rule. I want to have a lot of horsepower. I want to have a lot of power in the engine, but I want to have all the comforts that it came with. I want power steering. I want air conditioning, power brakes, ABS. And this car still has everything it came with, cruise control included. So
yeah. And now it has a shit ton of power too.
A little bit more than stock. I think we did a baseline pull last year at Super Nationals, and that was 241, pretty much all stock except for an intercooler.
Yep.
So to go from 241 to 440 plus is pretty nice.
And that's pretty decent power for a bone stock 7M. I mean, that's a pretty healthy motor.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, I think 240 was the brand new stock. Is this it?
Yeah.
Was the brand new car stock spec. So it's in the 230, 241, I think.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive that Toyota had the Thames electronic suspension in the 80s.
Yeah, that was pretty revolutionary for back then.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, Cadillac and all these people doing the electronic magnetic suspension and everything now. But, this is 2017.
Yeah.
So to come up with that kind of thing in the 80s, I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I think this whole car was pretty revolutionary for Toyota back in the day. I mean, all the things they were doing, because they didn't really produce a high horsepower turbocharged engine, at least in the States anyway,
right.
Back in the late 80s. And this was the first real high performance sports car that Toyota had produced, and it was kind of a big deal.
It's probably what made it such a good seller.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that they stopped the product line.
Yeah.
But then came the Mark IVs. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, the wave of the Mark IV. The popularity wave.
Yeah. Not just the Mark IV, right, but the 2J.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to stay true to this car and stay with 7M and just build it, to achieve what I wanted. Maybe it's not quite as easy to do, but, still pretty happy with the results.
Yeah, definitely some engineering leaps that you have to take to make the 7M get this kind of power out of it. But I don't know. I just think the sound that comes out of the 7M and the power band that you can obtain with it it's pretty unique to this motor.
Yeah, for sure. And remember, all it takes is money, kids.
Yes. Lots of time and money, and a wife who will put up with it, as I've learned.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, bless her heart. I don't know how she puts up with my shit all the time, but she sure does.
My wife's always telling me this is my mistress, and she's happy with this as opposed to the alternative.
Yeah, I guess it is a good alternative.
Right.
What kind of turbo are you running on this?
It's actually drift motion housing with a 5962. It's got a 4-inch inlet, 3-inch V-band outlet.
Yeah.
The housing's actually set up as a twin scroll, but running on a single scroll manifold. It doesn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm sure this thing moves enough air volume through the exhaust.
And running a good wastegate really makes all the difference.
And it's is it a 44 millimeter wastegate?
Yeah, it's the MVR 44 tau.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great wastegate. It's set up with a 13-pound spring, and then I'm controlling it with the AEM boost solenoid through the computer.
And having a good a large external wastegate really helps with building boost on the cold side too. It builds boost a lot faster.
Yeah.
And this is R154 transmission, right?
R154.
With a stock rear end, or is it LSD?
It's a stock LSD rear end. I believe it's 393.
Good highway gears.
Not bad with the 5-speed. You know, you put the two together and it's decent.
Yeah.
My last Supra actually had the 430 rear end, and
Oh yeah.
it didn't like highway cruising that much.
I'm screaming down the highway in 5th gear.
Yeah, I think it would run about $3,000 at 60. So yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah, 393 was a big improvement.
Well, I guess Mike here has shown us that you really can have the best of both worlds when it comes to fast cars. You can have luxury and creature comforts and still have a fast car.
Of course, if you remove the rear seats, it just makes it faster, right?
That's true. Yeah, weight reduction, bro.
That's hard to get video in the back.
Yeah, then we can squeeze Donnie back there. Woo.